Welcome to the Chain Out Podcast with your hosts, Jeremy and Daryl.
That's right. Jeremy and Daryl here, Season 2, Episode 82 of the Chain Out Podcast. How you doing, Daryl?
You know what? I always say it, but I am doing fantastic, Jeremy. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, and I'm feeling good about some changes that happened in our podcast studio here.
Yeah, you may not be able to tell. Maybe you can see it a little bit. But yeah, we've got some new furniture. We got a little bit more comfort, a little bit more space. Like we say, we're always evolving. We're always upgrading. That's what we're all about.
Yeah, and keep an eye in the future here because we got a couple more tricks up our sleeve. But let's just leave it at that.
Let's leave it at that.
Yeah.
That's all we need to say.
You know, what's exciting about the second week of the month, especially when there's a Tuesday in the second week of the month.
Yeah, everybody knows what that is.
It's ratings day. So it was ratings day on Tuesday this week. And it's been kind of interesting because you and I, pretty much for the year, I had a chance to participate in a ratings day in 2025 because I played the Tundra Toss back in February. But you were volunteering at that one.
Right.
And so this is the first time we've had a ratings day. So we're into June where we both played a tournament event.
But that Tundra Toss, that rating has already affected you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I was like, yeah, carry on.
So I was saying that this is the first time that we could both participate and see how our ratings went.
I've said it before. We've had Chance on. He talked about ratings, and I've said it once, and I'll say it again. I don't really understand how ratings get calculated because it doesn't make sense. Because obviously we'll get to it in a second.
Well, we might as well get to it. So we were excited because
go ahead. I don't want to spoil it.
Well, we went down to spring runoff as we told you on one of our previous podcasts, and we both had good events. Where our whole goal when we went down there was to do better than we had done the year before, and we definitely did.
Yeah,
and our ratings at the rounds actually showed it. We both had, I think you did and I did. We had our highest ratings ever, and we both had a rating.
Both had our first round rated over 900.
That's right. Yeah. So coming up to ratings day, I couldn't wait to see what it would be.
Yeah. I mean, you finished third? Fourth?
No, I was so close to third. I think I was one stroke behind. I was fourth.
Yeah. And I finished seventh or eighth. I can't even remember. But I know you finished quite a few places ahead of me. You're on that lead card. All these goals that you hit in that tournament. And then ratings come out.
Yeah. And for me, I went up. And one of my goals, I actually have 3 rating goals for the year. And the first one was at the bottom was I wanted to be 850 or better. And I went up 8 points.
Yeah.
So I'm at 855. I'm past goal number 1.
You know what? With this new studio,
you got to reach.
I got to reach. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So good. Congratulations. You hit your goal. I mean, you're a very goal-orientated person. So you had a goal and you hit it. Now what?
Well, now I go for the next goal. I had 3 goals.
Right.
850 was the first one. I think 865 is
the next. So 850 was like circle 2?
Yes.
So then you have your circle 1?
For those of listeners who don't know, I have a board up.
That was an OG drop.
Yeah, it is a total OG drop. So I have a goal board at home with with a basket in the center of it that I drew.
Your vision board.
Yes, my vision board. And then I've got bullseye, circle 1, and circle 2. So 850 was in my circle 2 goal. And now we're moving on to circle 1, baby.
Yeah, there you go.
And then how'd it go for you, Daryl?
Well, I don't set goals.
No.
And I don't really care that much about ratings. I mean,
and you dislike people who have... No, wait, it doesn't go that deep.
No, it doesn't go that deep. I don't set goals. My whole philosophy is, like I just said to you, you set a goal, you make that goal, then what's next? Then you set another goal, and you keep setting goals. But then if you set a goal and you don't hit that goal, then you feel deflated because you didn't hit that goal.
Right.
So it's a never ending, it's a vicious circle. That's a vicious circle. But for me, and this is what I don't understand about ratings, and this is the point I can get to, is you finished ahead of me. You had a higher rated round than me. I think all 3 of your rounds were probably better than me. You had a better rating event than me. And I went up 13 points. And now I know it has something to do with the amount of, you drop rounds when you make new rounds. So maybe I had bad rounds drop off. But I went up 13 points.
Yes.
Which is a great jump.
It's a huge
up to
jump.
861.
Yeah. Congratulations. Fist bump for you, brother.
Thank you. Yeah.
And going up anything double digits, and especially once you've been playing for a little while, if it's just when you first start, it's pretty easy to take a big jump, right? But now that you've been playing for over a year, you're into 2 years now.
Almost 3, yeah.
Yeah, and you've had enough tournaments that you're starting to drop tournaments off.
Right.
Yeah, that's a huge jump. So congratulations, you are winning the chain out battle of ratings.
Of ratings.
And I think I saw a comment. Why don't we talk about who's in the chat?
Oh yeah, we got the regular crew.
Who do we got in there?
We got Sonia in the chat, we got Dylan, we got Doc Zen in the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all hanging out in here.
So Doc Zen has a comment you should look at there towards the end. Go a little bit earlier there.
This one here.
Yes.
So Doc says, whoever is the lowest rating on the podcast is the co-host. Oh, I think I kind of like that.
I like that, but I don't think we've ever claimed to not be a co-host. I think I always announce in your favorite co-host,
Oh,
but I
Jeremy's the
assume that we're
co-host,
both
Daryl's the
co-hosts.
host.
There you go. So then the other question I had for you is we've already got something that's going on with our chain out battles when we play around together, and that's whoever wins gets to choose the emojis that the two people will have.
The emoji key ring.
Key rings. And you just gave me back the happy unicorn poop, which is the last one that you had until you handed them out. Do we need to do emojis for rating day too? Or do you think the co-host is the better idea?
You know what? I think that might be just enough. Yeah.
All right.
Mr. Alex Penny's in the chat as well.
Oh.
Well done, gentlemen. Great jumps.
Thank you.
Yeah,
All right.
thank
Well,
you.
then I will
Thank you,
stay
everybody.
and congratulate you on ratings day. So welcome to Chain Out Podcast with Daryl, your host with the most.
I just want to clarify that if I become the host, does that mean that I have to write the outline and you have to do all the technical stuff? We're not swapping roles, right?
Oh, could you imagine? That would be
It'd be a short episode if it barely got out on air. I'm just joking.
Maybe we should do that one time. Is where we swap, and that might be for a Patreon thing or something like that.
Okay.
We could trade
Maybe we'll
roles.
do that at no. I was gonna say maybe we could do that for episode 100, but no,
not for.
I don't want to ruin
for a big
no
one like that. Yeah.
exactly. But speaking of episode, we're on episode 82, as you said earlier. That's only 18 episodes away, Jeremy.
Right.
Big
What are we going to
100.
do for that? I have a couple ideas for one.
Well, we need to start talking about them.
We will. I don't know if we need
usual. We always talk about things, and then before we know it, the things jump up on us.
So I guess maybe there's a couple of things.
It only seems like yesterday that we were, we got responses from all our previous guests,
right,
celebrating and saying congratulations on 50.
On 50,
and now we're coming up on 100.
That, you know what? I haven't even taken the time to think about it, but that's amazing.
That's crazy.
So what we could say is for ratings day, to cap that off, we want to know how our listeners did. How did ratings day treat you? So if you are live right now, why don't you put it in the chat? And if you're listening to this after the fact, put it in the comments. We always respond to our comments, sometimes within 24 hours. Sometimes it's a couple days, but sometimes we miss them, but we always respond to them.
You have those notifications set up. I never get a chance normally. You normally responded before I've even known somebody has even made a comment. So they definitely get responded to.
Yeah, that's for sure. And then also, if you've got ideas for our 100th episode, we did a compilation with a bunch of comments from previous guests and that type of thing. If you want to see another episode like that, let us know. If you think there's that one guest that would be amazing for us to talk to on our 100th, let us know. Maybe that's the way we go.
I'm down for it.
All right.
Yeah.
But there were some tournaments that happened over the weekend in the Alberta area.
Yeah. This weekend, back down in Calgary, there was the Calgary Women Can Park at number 3. Yeah, it's a CWE event. Took place over the weekend. Joe Henderson, Amber Chase on, 2 previous guests of the show. They had a great battle, Jeremy.
Did they?
Yeah. All I'll say is the winner took it by 2 strokes.
Okay, so the winner took it by 2. And the thing is, when Amber and Joe face off, anything can happen because you've got 2 amazing friends, first of all, because they're good friends.
Yeah.
And then 2 amazing competitors too, because they both want to win. So it's one of those ones where it's like, we're best friends, but we're also competing.
On the course. Exactly.
So tell me, did Amber take the win?
It's an event that Joe was in.
Oh, and it is 2025.
Exactly.
So Joe took the win?
Joe took the win. That makes her 7 out of 7 tournaments that she's won now.
Wow.
7 entered, 7 won.
Okay.
Perfect start to the season.
Yes.
That's one stat. That's one stat to keep an eye on. He's up to 7 out of 7 now. We got to look forward to our next event, which is a Alex Penny, who's in the chat. And I just want to throw something out to him here. He put that he is up 7 strokes as well, or 7 points on his rating as well. He's up to 941.
Nice. Good.
Congratulations, Alex.
And jumping when you're up in the 900s, I think, is even more
That's
difficult.
it, right? Even, I mean, when you get up that high, you're looking for those 2 or 3 point jumps, and Alex jumps up 7 points. So good job,
work.
Alex. Yeah, so Joe is now playing. Her next event will be the Get In, Get Out, Get Rated.
Mhm.
That'll be at her home course of Forest Lawn.
Ooh.
You know, Joe likes that course.
Yeah, well, I think I've seen many an ace run off the top of the hill there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Maybe she'll get the ace.
Yeah, but it looks like she's still waiting for a challenger on that event. After that, she'll be coming up to Edmonton for the River City Cup.
All right. Well, there you go. If there is no challenger, we're looking at 8 for 8. That's quite the
It's just
season.
an amazing start.
Puts her in company with someone like maybe, Kristen Latt, who is only placed first or second in every event that she's played this year.
Yeah.
So
There you go. I mean, you speak Joe Henderson, you think Kristen Latt.
yeah, look at that.
There you
That's
go.
good company to be keeping.
Absolutely.
Now, there was another event that happened on the weekend, and
Yeah.
that was the NADGT.
What does NADGT stand for, Jeremy?
New Apple. No, it's the National Amateur Disc Golf Tour.
Yeah.
And there was a Canada exclusive event at, please help me with this,
Maddie Reardon's
Red Tail
Yeah.
Ridge course, which
Yeah.
we talked to Maddie about. And from all accounts, when we've heard from Jordan Alway or anyone else who's played that course, is that's a really tough course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam Western, he has said that he has donated a few discs to the pond,
Yeah.
to the lakes out there. So it's a really tough course.
And you know what? It's good that we have a guest in the chat.
Yeah.
Because I want to put a big shout out to Alex Penny, nicest guy in disc golf,
Exactly.
and congratulate him on taking down the MA1 win.
Woo.
Now, I want to do some justice here, so I do have my phone in front of me. And I asked Alex, I got a little bit of a story here. I'll see how much I can
Give me a
get
quick
to.
recap.
I'll give you a quick recap.
Yeah, that's what you asked for.
Well, the reason I asked for it was because when you look at PDGA and you see the scores, you can see that Trevor Neville
Mm-hmm.
and Alex Penny both had the same finishing score,
Right.
but Alex is in first.
Okay.
So that's not one of those things where they just change the they take the person with the lowest PDGA rating
No,
like they do with
yeah,
cards.
no.
It means they
There's a
went to a
reason.
playoff.
Exactly.
So let me tell you a little bit about the
Go for it.
playoff.
I'll
So
step back.
this is what we got. First of all, Alex starts off by telling us it was a surreal experience. And like many people have said about the course, as he goes out and he does his practice round,
Mm-hmm.
and he has a few reservations about whether he wants to continue with this tournament. So it must have been a tough practice round there on the Friday. It was his first time ever playing the course.
Yep.
So he goes into round 1. He's 3 shots back at the lead and just trying to focus and play the course to the best of his ability. That sounds like Alex. That's a good thing. And he didn't even realize until after the scorecard was submitted on 18 that he was tied at the end there with Trevor. And Trevor was still on hole 1. He took the par, Trevor did.
Right.
And off to the playoff they go.
Oh.
So Maddie decided that it was going to be an aggregate playoff. So they're going to play hole 1 and hole 18. And if after that there wasn't a winner of the total score,
Right.
then they would go and do it again.
Okay.
So a 2-hole
That's
playoff.
interesting.
Yeah, which I've always
'cause
wanted to see that.
Well, I know the TD can specify, right? It's
Yeah.
not a PDGA thing. It's the TD can say it's either going to be 1, 2, 3, or 17, 18, 1, or whatever it might be. And if you win it after the first hole, then that's it done. But he said it's an aggregate of 2 holes.
That's right.
Interesting. Nice.
So they start on hole 1. And what do we got here? Let's see. Trevor and I both got par on hole 1.
Okay.
So everything's even.
Yeah.
They get to hole 18. And they were both deep circle 2 after 2 shots.
Okay.
Alex puts his 3rd shot close to the basket. Trevor tried to lay up, but his putter hit the base of the basket,
no.
stood up, rolled away 35 feet, and his comeback putt
Yeah.
chained out the side of the basket.
That's not nice.
No.
You want to win. I mean, you take the win when you get the win. And we always say you want to beat the person on their best day, right?
Yeah, you want to beat them because they played their best
But
shot.
I mean, Alex did play the best shot. He got the position in, and unfortunately, who was it? Sorry,
Trevor. Neville. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the last thing there that Alex says, he's like, it was his first playoff. It was unfortunate that it ended that way because Trevor is an incredible disc golfer.
Yeah.
And looks forward to a rematch with him.
Ooh, there you go.
So yeah, and everyone who was attending was so awesome and coming over, giving him congratulations, and it was a cool moment because it was his first MA win outside of a flex start.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Alex.
Congrats.
Great
Yeah.
job.
Thanks for sharing the story too, because I always love the story behind the scorecard. Because
Yeah.
all we get to see is the PDGA
Exactly.
Live scorecard.
I mean, that's the whole reason why we do the A tiers, right? Because we can see PDGA live, but we don't know the battle. We don't know the back and forth. We don't know what, you can just look and see there was a bogey or a birdie,
Mhm.
but we don't know how that came about, right? So yeah,
That's right.
it's always nice to get the feeling of the event.
For sure. Now, one thing we said last week, and we just want to give you guys an update, is that the DEP Open post that we were talking about putting up is not quite up yet, Daryl, right?
It's
But is it close?
you know what? I'll give you my DJ
Your
guarantee, my
host of the podcast.
host of the podcast guarantee that it will be up live. It'll be a pinned post on Instagram by lunchtime tomorrow Mountain.
Okay.
There you go.
And what you want to do is you want to watch for a post that's going to have the replica trophy of the DEP Open buoy.
Yeah.
And then there will also be a photo of the 2 Thought Space discs.
Yeah. It'll be a 2-photo post.
Right.
And then all the rules and regulations and the requirements will be on the post as well. We don't need to say it right now, but
No, we don't need to put
normal requirements.
I think the only thing I want to put out there is that we're really looking to get some support for the DEP Open and want our listeners and everyone to follow them for sure. So that's going to be mandatory.
Absolutely.
And what we'll do is that if you're entered into 2 draws.
Okay, we'll go over the
just the only thing. You're entered into 2 draws. 1 draw for the replica trophy, 1 draw for the disc.
Yes. And we'll just say on top of that then that if you are a Patreon subscriber, you get a bonus entry also. So if you enter on Instagram, if you're a Patreon follower member, you'll get a bonus entry. Everyone who subscribes
And no, just kidding.
on Patreon gets a bonus entry. There you go.
All right, let's mention our sponsors. We have 2 amazing sponsors this year who are helping out Chain Out Podcast. The first one that we're going to mention is BR Disc Golf. You can get 10% off at checkout with them if you use the code CHAINOUT. And I got a mail call this week, and I'm not going to go too deep into it, but I just love to show off new discs.
Of course.
And
everybody likes mail call day.
We had mentioned that BR Disc Golf, you can now sort by flight numbers.
Yeah.
And you told me what was missing in my bag was some stable kind of fairway driver stuff.
Right.
So I put in 750 and looked for what I could get.
Okay.
Got myself a Jennifer Allen T-Bird.
Ooh, nice.
So
that's
that
a
one's
2025.
I don't know.
It is.
Oh, you looked?
I'm
Well, you know your Innova. I
no,
just
I'm
know
telling
it's Jen
you.
Allen.
It is, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
And then I got, which is rare for me to get a white disc,
Yeah.
but I got a Thought Space Vodum, and it's a light one. It's like 157. I got a chance to throw it last night.
Nice.
Really nice.
It flies nice?
Yeah.
Nice. Good.
And I got a Simon Line balance.
Ooh. Don't you have a balance? Oh, you have the proto balance from the Gyropalooza box.
Super overstable one.
Right.
This one I only got a chance to throw once, so I can't tell you what it's doing yet. It's stable. That's all I can tell you. But we have that going on. And the other thing that's happening with BR is they're celebrating the 5-year Trash Panda anniversary, which is a great story of a company that makes discs out of recycled plastic.
Oh my goodness, give me a second.
And one of the things about that is that BR Disc Golf does have some Trash Panda available for you if you want it. They've got the Dune.
Dune.
What else do they have?
Well, of course they have a Dune. They're going to have the original. They're going to have the OG, the inner core. And
and they got the Ozone, which I think is one of the newest ones, right?
They have the new Ozone as well. -3.1. Great beginner disc.
Yeah, that would be for sure.
Yeah.
If it flies to those numbers, which was always the question.
Yeah.
And then our other sponsor is Cardinal Disc Golf, and you can get 10% off with them by using the code CHAINOUT. There is a space between chain and out. And we were told by Kevin and Lane that there was going to be a drop of some jerseys, and those jerseys just dropped. And there were a number of sweet jerseys that are out there now.
Well, all I'll say, Jeremy, is if we do a swap, you're going to be...
I'm going to be in trouble.
You're going to be in trouble because I'm finding it hard to keep up at this point. But you keep talking, and I will get it here.
So what we've got is Gannon's got a couple jerseys. What Cardinals doing this year is they're doing victory jerseys, which is going to be a lot of jerseys if Gannon keeps winning. So there's one there for the Santa Cruz event that Gannon won. And then here's another one for the Portland. Was that the Northwest?
It's the Northwest Disc Golf Championship, yeah.
Yeah. And so those are a couple cool ones. There's a D'Anthony Thomas.
With the Austin Bates.
Oh,
Butler
Austin
County
Bates.
Disc Golf Classic.
Another
winner.
victory series.
Yeah.
And then what else?
You got the Creator Series, Cobb, Kelly
Barber
for
or
Prodigy.
Baber?
What's that?
Kelly Baber, I think, or Kelly Barber, something like that.
Kelly Barber, I think
Yeah.
it is. Yeah. Cobb on Cobb 1. Cobb 1? I
Yeah.
could say Cobb 1. And then also, if you're in the sports era industry,
Mhm.
if you like your sport, an ex-football player, DeAnthony Williams.
Thomas,
Why did I say Williams?
'cause it's
DeAnthony
beautiful.
Thomas. Sorry, DeAnthony Thomas. They have his nice black and green. Doc has already said that he likes my jersey, likes the black and the green.
Mhm.
So there you go, Doc. If you want to get a new jersey, DeAnthony Williams, nice black and green Cardinal jersey,
Yeah.
use code chain space out for
Yes.
10% off your order.
Right. And then the last thing we'll mention to you before we get to our guests is stay tuned after the episode and join us on our Patreon one. You can get over to Patreon, join at any level, including free. We'll give you a link to join us and we will be having a couple chats. One of the things we're getting really the hang of right now, Daryl, is we're really enjoying doing some quizzes. Now the quizzes can be a little long, but
Oh,
I've
we're
got a
getting better.
speed up for the quiz.
Oh, okay,
And
cool.
I want people to join us. Another thing we did is I'm really proud of that connections puzzle I put out there. If you haven't seen it yet, go check our Instagram. If you have ever played New
yeah.
York Times Connections, it's my version of it with disc golf discs. Send me your answers. I'll tell you if you're right or not. And those are things to check out. But let's do it. Let's get to the guest.
Did you mention GoatTel? 15% off at GoatTel with code
COP15.
COP15.
Yeah, usually do that at the end, but I
Okay.
like doing it now too.
Well, there you go. I have buttons to push, so I pushed it. There we go.
All right. Meat and potatoes time?
Here we go. This
Okay.
is where we're at.
We are excited to have a return guest on tonight's podcast. Last year, they were on episode 40 of the Chain Out podcast. We got their origin story, their desert island discs, and heard all about their efforts with queer disc golf. A year has passed, and we want to know what's happened and what will be happening this year. So get the chat going. Let's welcome Andi Seawright back to the podcast.
Hello.
Hey, Andy, how are you
Can you hear
doing?
me okay?
Oh, yeah, we can hear you fine.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank God. This didn't work last time. So I remember last time I had like the headphones on and we went from computer back to the phone and it was like all over. So I think this one's going well though.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice to see you guys. How you folks doing?
Yeah, we're doing pretty good. Yeah, can't
And-
complain.
And speaking of that, speaking of last time, right? Darren?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we just scroll through the script
Yeah,
because
so
I
last
have a
time-
lot of buttons to push.
When we were looking at it there, Andy, you were on episode 40 is what it was.
Mhm.
That was back in August. And it was, when was it, Daryl?
That was August 28th.
Okay.
So we're on episode 82 right now. So over half of our episodes ago since we last spoke to you.
And they use that saying, time does fly. And it doesn't feel like it's been almost a year since we last saw you.
No, and that's kudos to you folks for 40 episodes since then. That's no small feat either. But yeah,
thank you.
it does. It sort of seems like yesterday. Like it feels like we were having this conversation, talking about events and talking about sort of what queer disc golf had done for the year. And then yeah, it's like winter. I find disc golf season so busy, right? Like I feel like it stretches into November, and then you're already like thinking about what's happening in the spring, and then the spring comes around, and just like I feel like it can be really there's not a lot of downtime, at least for me, not a lot of downtime. So I find time just moves along.
Oh, it certainly does.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, when we were last talking to you, we had a chance to kind of do a bit of a learning about queer disc golf and what it's all about. But for our listeners who didn't hear that episode, we were hoping that maybe you could give us a quick summary of what queer disc golf is all about and what the goals of QDG are.
Yeah. So we started in 2023, so we're in our third season now. I think our next event is 29. So I think that's like where we're sort of sitting in terms of events we've run. Really, it's just like an opportunity for folks to come out. Every event is in conjunction with a local city, with a local club, and then supports like a direct service agency that's most often, if not always, supporting LGBTQ folks in that sort of area. I don't think I initially got into it for the fundraising side. I didn't really think that's where things were headed, but I have a background in social work and background in sort of fundraising and working in shelters and everything else where you have to make things stretch. And so I've sort of become, I'd argue, like tactful. Some might say annoying. In fundraising, you have to be annoying. Um,
Yeah.
and so I found that that was like where I was having a lot of success. Um, and so decided to run these event series, um, really sort of celebrating diversity, celebrating inclusion in disc golf, and collaborating with clubs and local charities and not-for-profits across Canada and the States. And yeah, that's sort of been what we've been up to. Um, and it's been a wild ride. That's for sure. It's been a
Definitely.
wild ride.
Yeah. Well, it's always amazing. We were very excited to hear about everything that Queer Disc Golf was doing. And what we really realized last year was that there was a rapid growth. Like, it was almost growing faster than you could have imagined. And there was so much fundraising happening. You were traveling all over North America. You were hosting and
Hmm.
organizing events. Is it still quite at that busy rate, or has it kind of leveled out a bit, or where are you at so far this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've had to make some decisions like just around sustainability. Um, I did 17 events last year, and I kept my job, and I think I out of the 17 events, like three were Ontario or something like that, or something so small, right?
Yeah.
And so it wasn't like I was doing like 10 local events or something like that. Like really, they were all away.
Hmm.
All like we were, and I had done things where I hadn't planned things like, okay, I'm gonna go do like the West Coast and like let's go to like Vancouver and then the next week go to Victoria. I was like, let's go to Edmonton and fly back, and we'll go to Vancouver the next week and fly back, and we'll go to Saskatoon and fly back. And I was really doing that. And so there was a
Okay.
toll, I think in terms of like I had a I had to sort of decide like, do I want to keep doing it in more of like a grassroots sort of way, which is like just really trying to make things community based, not really focusing on hand over hand growth. Or do I want to bring on like a board? Do I want to bring in more
Hmm.
people to be sort of have more, sway and more organizing committees? And ultimately, I decided it just wasn't for me. Um, I met with some folks. I met with some people that, like, not even in disc golf, just also in not-for-profit space,
Hmm.
to talk who were looking at like wanting to support and stuff like that. But it just wasn't really the direction I was hoping to go.
Hmm.
I think like for me, a lot of it is like grassroots. I think it's hard to organize disc golf events if you don't play disc golf or really
Yeah.
like breathe it or play it. And so bringing in sometimes outside interests that maybe are involved, want to be involved, sort of like in the non-for-profit space, but less so know the sport. I just found it was like maybe just things were not totally aligned, or just like it wasn't my vision.
Hmm.
Um, and so yeah, like this year we got into Winnipeg last year. That was or say Winnipeg this year. So that was like a big new city that we tried to get last year. And this year, like our Oklahoma event did really well. It doubled. Our Hokot event did like more, did 90. But we see dips and valleys. Like not everything has been, um, you know, 70 or 80 players.
Right. Right.
Um, but nothing's felt like uh, not not worth doing.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
there's always been enough to make it feel like the juices is worth the squeeze.
Yes.
Um, so the growth is like, yeah, like it's interesting. Um, it's so hard to measure numbers. Like, we put out hats in May and they sold out.
Yeah.
And they were expensive. They were $40. Like we had to have a higher price point on them. And I
Hmm.
put together 40, and I mean they were gone. We put them on a couple events and had them for sale. And we did a custom mold with Discape, and that went in a day.
Hmm.
And we had 50 pieces. But so like I know there's people that are like there's things that were I can signs of it for sure.
Yeah.
Um, But I have seen, I just find it hard sometimes to really like rally for events. I think it's actually in some ways can be easier to sell like a $20 item than it
Right.
can be to have somebody come out to an event. And
Yeah.
that's what I'm starting to notice. And I didn't
Right.
think that was sort of the always the way it would work, but it is what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
And so really trying to understand like how do we build on the player base? Um, just because like I enjoy doing the selling stuff, I enjoy having like merch, but ultimately like I don't really I don't love doing retail, and I
Hmm.
didn't come into this to do retail. Um, and so figuring out like how how do we put the energy or effort into finding ways to grow events, um, and mm, partly what I also think is how do we consolidate or like highly put like high levels of focus in a few events and really work at like these are things can have space to grow year over year
Yes.
versus sort of like trying to get to this next goalpost. Um,
Right.
Yeah.
and I think like the reality is like I don't have the capacity to get to the next goalpost, and the way that I can is just not the way I envision
Yeah.
what I'm doing, and so it's a hard it's a hard way to a hard balance.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, like I saw this documentary. It's really cool. It's about this this like guy who's been running these wrestling tours all through like indigenous communities in like in Winnipeg, sorry, northern Manitoba and into Saskatchewan. And it's called the Hell Tour. And like it just became this thing where it was like these like so many most people outside of it didn't know what it was, but
Hmm.
it was like this thing that ran over and over and over, and it went for like 30 years.
Okay.
And it was
Wow.
because it was like this 3 week window that they did it every year. It was the same place, and it's just sort of like to me that seems like the best way to go forward.
Mm.
Um, and not to say I won't ever take on new things, and not to say I don't ever look at expanding, but I think like I have an idea of a better idea of what we have built, and I have a better idea of like what sort of events we can do. And so trying to like focus efforts on those things.
Yeah. Well, Andy, that
Okay.
makes a lot of sense because when you're talking doing 17 events last year and you participating in all of them and flying all over the place, it's just that seems unsustainable for one person to try and keep going. Because, if you went and said, okay, this year we're going to run 27 events and I'm going to burn myself out and I no longer have a
Yeah,
job, that doesn't work. So I think it's the right method to try and put the focus into specific events and really try to grow them as the key ones. And I know, this year, Nationals is going to be held out at Haute Goat, and Daryl Banks is a big supporter of a lot of different causes and trying to really help grow disc golf, same way you are as well. How was the Haute Goat experience there? Because one thing we want to ask you is we are going to come out there for Nationals, and
yeah.
we talked to some of the pros, and
Yeah.
you talk to Chantel Badinsky or Rebecca Dawn and they'll tell you how great the course is, but we don't play like Chantel Badinsky or Rebecca Dawn, and we think that maybe Andy Seawright, Jeremy, and Daryl play very similar. What's your how was it for you?
Yeah, that was our second year running that event. Um, I mean, Okode is truly it's like I think it's one of the best facilities in the province. Just in terms of like the amenities, in terms of just like the maintenance, course maintenance, in terms of like the fact that there's like that perfect amount of like some change but not like complete alteration. So there's always something sort of keeping you fresh, but always that thing that reminds you to come back. And so um, I mean, that event is it's lovely. There's so many different layouts on that course that Daryl's done such a good job because they have like the blue goat, they have I don't know what the long one's called, is the white goat. Um,
Mm.
and then they have the ace place as well, right? So uh like that event we did in was it April 26th maybe? April 26th. I think we had like something like 90 players and
Wow.
um we had the doubles afternoon on it was like sanction in the morning and doubles afternoon. Doubles afternoon was on the Ace Place course and like it was just like it was like exactly in my mind if I could have like storied a moment about like what would I want to see in an event that I ran. We had put this like we put this uh, the ace pot was only on the afternoons on the ace place course,
Okay.
but it was mandatory. You had to pay for it.
Hmm.
So and it was 100% payout. It wasn't and it was like we would donate the number. Like it wasn't. It was just like I wanted to see some. I wanted to see if it would work. I had this weird. I thought maybe, and so we put this $400 ace pot on an ace place course,
Hmm.
and it got hit by uh like a player who was playing in either the purples or the greens. It
Hmm.
was their first ace. It was
Nice.
$400 ace win. They got like a standing ovation,
Yeah.
and
Awesome.
so like I'm watching it, and it was just there was so much going on. It was on the hole that like one of the sponsors came, so they had
Right.
built like this island, and so as the shots were going into the island, they were donating more money, and then the
Oh.
ace gets hit on that hole,
Right.
and so like and it was just like I couldn't have wrote it, like I couldn't have written it better, right?
Hmm.
And so just like the capacity to be able to do things like that. Um, like I've been really lucky, and like I would say, Daryl, like sponsors coming, they're bringing snacks and drinks for the players. I need you to like put an island that's this by this, and Daryl's just like, okay, I'll do it. Like it's not
Right.
Yeah.
like, and just to have that sort of like, you know, uh, uh, working with folks that they're able to see the vision, or they sort of like say, okay, I see what you're doing, and I want to support it. Um, that to me is like just so helpful. And it just feels like there's not a whole lot of red tape. I'll
Yeah.
be honest. Like organizing there is really easy, um, in the best way. And so yeah, great event. Um, Nationals. Are you guys playing in Nationals?
Yes,
We
we
are
are.
playing at
Yeah.
nationals, and no
Exciting.
spoilers, but we may try to bring some gear as well and try to do some coverage of one form or another while we're there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We will be producing content. Let's
Yes.
leave it at that.
Sweet. Yeah, I'll
Hmm.
see you guys there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be around. I'm not playing, but I'll be hanging out for
Oh,
the weekend.
great.
And
That'll be good. That'll be a
uh,
good chance for us to meet each other. Well, we met each other in person at the Edmonton event last year, and we want
Yeah.
to talk about this year's in
you
a
drove me to
minute.
the gas station.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We went to the convenience store to grab some drinks
You
that didn't seem
and
very convenient, did it?
you bought me a Gatorade, and you bought me a beef jerky. It was very kind.
Yeah.
I remember. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And but yeah, it would be cool to see a lot of folks in Ontario that I've got to meet across, running so many of these events.
Hmm.
There might be two or three dozen people that I've either run events with or played with or met and had some, really good interactions with, that are going to be there. So yeah, I'm super looking forward to it.
Well, and you're starting to mention Ontario people that are working with you and had a chance to work with. One of the ones that we've noticed that's been a cool collaboration. There's a couple Ontario connections, and one of them is with Judge Havoc. And there's been a number of discs now that you've worked together on, and it almost feels like there's this Skullboy QDG theme going on. And Daryl has a couple that we're going to bring up here just to show everyone at
Oh
home.
yeah,
Yeah.
So
that's a good
there's
one. That's the
this.
most recent one.
Yeah.
Now, is this so? We've got one here. It's got Discape on there. It's got a couple of raccoons in it. It's got the spray paint in the background with the QDG, waving the flag there as well. Got the Toronto CN Tower. That's a great design. And then
Yeah.
what's the other one there, Daryl?
Yeah. The next
Oh, that's
one.
another one.
Yeah. Another one with the skullboy and the mermaid in the background.
The
And
sushi.
that one, yeah, and that one looks like that might be a little bit of another Discape one because it kind of feels like that might be
Bit
Aquarian's
of a nod to
partner
the
there.
Aquarian. Yeah. Absolutely.
So,
So
so it's funny. That's the St. Catherine's Women's Club's logo. Like
Oh,
so,
okay.
uh, so we found a way to like, Skelly Boy. I sort of like. I think the first time we used, it's kind of like we had a really rudimentary version of it a couple years ago, and then we started to do it on the stamps. I think the first stamp we did was like a year ago, give or take.
was it
Um,
maybe this one? I think Daryl's got it queued up. Tell me if it's this one here.
no, that's a different. That's another stamp. uh, we have that one's the Hoke Goat one. That's the
Okay.
Okay.
2025 one. then we had like one for California, we have one for Alberta,
Wow.
we have one for so we've been doing it like and it's sort of like I was always interested in like skateboarding and sort of like that art style,
Right.
um, sort of like I don't know, kind of like Calvin and Hobbes, but like a little bit more crude,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, and like kind of Dennis the Menace, but like still good, but like still can like get into shit. Uh, and that was sort of like the idea was a character like that. Um, and it's the discs like the stamps have done really well.
Mm-hmm.
It's like surprising how well they've done. Um, so I think like a lot of people just see that there's a new stamp and people will if they're not at the event they'll figure how can I get it.
Hmm.
Um, and so it's been cool to see like the theme and working with Judge Havoc or Jason. Like
Mm-hmm.
I can't say enough good things. Just like able to take vision and the number of times you'll have conversations with people and then it's like yeah I'll work on design I'll get back to you in 2 weeks and you never hear again, right? um
Yep.
but he's really on it and he's excited, like he's like passionate about it. And so when you talk about an idea, like he'll take ideas and he'll add his own little like je ne sais quoi, little like dazzle. And he has a lot of fun with it too, right? And so it's been a really good partnership, and it's been great, yeah, working with him and
Yeah.
putting stuff out with him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna say with that, Jason's designs are amazing. We've been watching them for a while, and then when we saw that there was that partner up with Queer Disc Golf, it was just a perfect match. And that Scully boy is really really cool.
Yeah.
But that's not the only.
Does he have a name? You referred
Is
to
it?
him as Scully
Yeah,
Boy.
yeah, Scully Boy.
That's
Yeah,
That's
just
the
his
name.
name. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. When I
SB.
Yeah.
when I went and got a like when I first started queer disc golf, I went and got a tattoo, and I was just like, I need you to put like it's really rudimentary, but I was like, can you put a skeleton throwing a frisbee?
Right.
And I had no idea that would be my logo, but I got this tattoo, and then I was trying to put a logo on the socials, and so I didn't have a logo, and so like before it was the logo it is now, when for like the first
Hmm.
like probably month, I reached out to the tattooer and I was like, "Do you have the drawing? Like I need the logo."
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So then I was like, "Well, I have this drawing." So then I think I did started to do like one thing, and then people kept asking me if I was going to bring back a skeleton,
Mm.
right? And so I went almost a year, more than a year, like almost a year and like 14 months without doing a skeleton. People kept asking, "Is skeleton coming back? Is skeleton coming back?"
Yeah.
And so then I was like, "Okay, I'll put a skeleton out." And then we did, and then it just sort of
Yeah.
took.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and besides that, that was one partnership that we noticed, Daryl, and we also saw another one too, did we?
Yeah. So like we mentioned, we thought the mermaid there, but we also noticed that Discape Disc Golf has also partnered up with QDG this year as well. And we had Ned on the podcast before when we talked to him about Discape discs,
Hmm.
and I just recently was a TD of a great Discape event as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I mean, it's got to be a great partnership to have with Ned and all the folks over there.
Yeah, I mean they let us do our own mold, which was super
Right.
cool.
Mm.
Awesome.
Um, so I had talked with Ned, I think at Toronto Open, and talked about stamping, and I was sort of thinking, well, yeah, stamping, but like we stamp a lot, and it just like what would be something that would be kind of different.
Hmm.
And I reached out to Ned, and I was like probably like 6 weeks ago or 7 weeks ago, and I was like, I don't know, like what do you think? I have this idea, like what about a mold?
Right.
And he was like, yeah, I think so. And I was like, really? And so we kind of like workshopped it, and part of me didn't think it was going to happen. Not that I didn't think Ned would deliver, but it seemed like it was a big ask in 5 or 6 weeks.
Mm.
Hmm.
Came in 2 weeks early. Um,
Wow.
so from like even to the point of where I was like, I could only get one color, but
Right.
they had to have the disc made.
Yeah.
So it
Right.
wasn't like they were pulling off of off of inventory and stamping. They were
Hmm.
like, what color do you want this to be? You can choose one color,
Right.
and they had it to me that quickly in two different foil stamps. Like it just like worked with me on pricing to something that was I thought was incredibly fair, that allowed me to offer it to players for like a really good price, and I think they were just super excited to do it. And so
Yeah.
You know, you when you work with folks, like you have like a level of expectations, and I would just say that like they sort of way surpassed
Yeah.
what I had expected. In terms of just like communication, timing, it's a big project. Like it wasn't a small thing, and they sort of handled like it was, like they were stamping discs. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, kudos to those guys, and the feedback's been really good.
Yeah.
And I'm super happy to work with them on this sort of project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like Queer Disc Golf is picking the right partners, right?
Yeah. No,
You've got
exactly.
partners who are delivering, early and coming through for you. And I think when we're talking about making the events better and making those events grow, those are the types of things that happen, is that you have all of your efforts going into these events, and then when you can bring in the power of what Ned can offer or what Judge can offer, and other people, that's where you really see them start to kind of blossom, and the event grows. Now another event that you've got going up, and we did see Bevy is in the chat here
Was
and
he
mentioned
there?
that, yeah, Bevy
Yeah.
was saying looking forward to seeing you this weekend. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what I'm gonna guess is the Guelph event happening this weekend?
Yeah, so we have a Guelph event this weekend. It's a C tier in the morning, and then unsanctioned doubles afterwards at Eastview. Um, yeah, it's got a good turnout. I think we're like probably starting to get close to like 60-ish unique players between both the morning and the afternoon, which for a summer event in June, when you've got two other relatively, or not relatively, quite large events, I think is really, it's really exciting. It's a fundraiser for Out on the Shelf, which is like a local like library resource for queer, I think mostly for queer youth, but queer folks in
Okay.
general. So part of like the Guelph and Wellington County. Um, and yeah, it's Prodigy is sort of the partner on this event. Um, I haven't worked with Prodigy in the past, so this is the first time, but they've been really easy to work with, um, and have been really generous. So looking like it's gonna be a great day. Um, Super excited for that one. It's our second year in Guelph, so we did Guelph last year, and so we're doing it again this year. Um, and for folks who haven't played Eastview, I think it's one of the best like free park courses, um, definitely in Ontario, that I've played. So I highly recommend if folks haven't played it and want to check out a good event. We have that one coming up this weekend.
Awesome. Yeah, and you keep the registration open for as long as you can, I'm sure, so that people can
Oh
drop
yeah,
in and that. Yeah. So
yeah. If
that's
people
good.
show up, they have no problem.
Yeah.
I've had people. I've like I've been like at the event and like I'll see like registered. I'm like no problem.
Hmm.
I won't turn anybody away. Um,
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
yes.
Well, and that event's coming up, and I know I've been out to Guelph one time, and I was able to play the Riverside course there. But when we talked to Bevy a few weeks or maybe a couple months ago now, Daryl,
Hmm.
there was so many other courses in the area to play, and that Eastview one was one of the ones we'd mentioned.
Yeah.
Now the other thing though is that Daryl, you kind of last year you were a bit of a board, you were just a member of EDGA, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna let you take this question, Jeremy, because I'm dealing with some technical difficulties at the moment. So
Oh, are you? Okay. So let's go to this one now here, Andy. I was going to give that one over to
it's
Daryl,
okay.
but he's
Yeah.
working on something there. So last year, Daryl was an EDGA member, just like me. We were just part of the league, part of the club, that kind of thing. But this year, he's actually on the board. And so now that he's on the board, when we were part of the event that happened here, it was the EDGA organized Big Berta event with QDG. That's what happened out at Kingswood at that XL layout where we got a chance to meet you. But this year there's a bit of a new name. It's the Chains for Change Big Berta, and it's coming up on June 21st. And this time it's going to be moved over to Hermitage Park. And
Mhm.
can you tell us a little bit about what you've kind of got going and what the plan is for that event?
Yeah. So that event we partnered with Daredevil. Um, So I working with them on that one. I just feel like it's like I gotta try, I like trying working with different folks, right? I work in
Yeah.
I work with lots, and I think like I'd love to be able to support Canadian manufacturers. I think like it's a clearly a bit of a gap in like the Canadian market. And I
Hmm.
think like we see that when things like tariffs come up, and it's like,
Hmm.
what do we do, right? Because if there's such a reliance on other like across like from the states and elsewhere to be coming in, and so yeah, we're working with them. It's last year was for Skipping Stone, which we sort of tied between the two events because it was Calgary and Edmonton last year.
Yes.
This year we could only really fit in one. Um, it was sort of wasn't sure which direction, and with Limber having some changes, and then just like with some of the costs associated with Lloyd and stuff, we thought like let's work in Edmonton. I feel like we can sort of keep our costs down. Um, Brock and Mike were so lovely, and they're just so hands on, and they want to like they're thinking about the event coming up and sending information about grants, and we applied for a grant and we received a small grant, and so there was like a lot of things that like I think the Edmonton Club really brought and could bring, and so yeah, I this right now we have it as a sanctioned Saturday and then an unsanctioned Sunday.
Hmm.
Hmm.
We're not sure. I'm not sure what Sunday is going to look like right now. I think we're really focusing on trying to sort of bump registrations on Saturday before figuring out like what Sunday is is or isn't going to be.
Right.
Um, and so we're really trying to figure out that event and trying to figure out how we can drive sort of registrations on that one.
Yep.
Um, I made a connection with Polyrhythm Brewing last year um, in Edmonton. So we're doing a beer release with
Yes.
them that's going to also um, the profits or $1 from each uh, 4 pack is going to go towards the Pride Center of Edmonton, and that beer
Okay.
is getting launched province wide. So it's going to go into all the Alberta liquor stores across the province, and it'll have like Queer Disc Golf and the Mega logo on it. Um, and so like there is a really fun project, and also
Yeah.
have Pride Center Edmonton's logo on there as well. Um, and so it's just like a cool opportunity, and Polyrhythm really great to work with. Such lovely folks, and so there's a lot of people doing a lot of work. There's a lot of different things. There's like lunch that's being served by is it Brigsby that does the hot dogs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Briggsy. Yeah.
Briggsy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, Briggsy. Yeah, so he's going to be there. Wildman is vending, and like there's a lot of we're really trying to make it like it's like a super Edmonton event.
Yes.
Like in my mind, it's like so many different features of it are really Edmonton. Um, and so yeah, I that's what we have coming up in like about I guess it's like a week and a half.
Yeah, just
Um,
it's coming up right around the corner, and that I
Yeah.
believe is the longest day of the year that weekend too as well.
Sweet.
So that'll
The
be you can
glow.
keep the party going all night long.
Yeah, we'll have a glow round at 11:30 at night.
That's right. Well, having Polyrhythm involved because Edmonton has so many great breweries. So we've talked about it before when we talked to Cold Garden about maybe getting a custom beer for that. So to know that you were able to make that happen, that gives us good promise for that. But yeah, having Briggsy involved, having Wildman, and there's still lots of space we wanted to let people know. So if you're down in Calgary or if you're somewhere close to Edmonton, make the trip up. One of the things about Andy's events and Queer Disc Golf events is it's got a couple other cool features, and Daryl got to participate in it last year. Is that you don't go with the traditional um, divisions that you would normally see. You actually use the color divisions, and I think what Daryl had found, and I don't know how you feel about this, Andy, is that that kind of puts a more even playing field because there's a number of more divisions and they're more focused on ratings and skill abilities as opposed to other factors.
Yeah. It takes out. We've had that discussion before with the Chance about which division do you go in. You're an MA4, you go in this. You're an MA1, you go in this. Whatever that is. So if that's your rating, that's the division you go in.
Hmm.
Yeah, takes the. But I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it was a different experience for me. Um, I can say that because I won my division last year, so I'm quite proud of that.
Yeah, and do you?
um,
I was going to say with that, Andy, do you find that people tend to enjoy playing in the colored ones for that more competitive, that more equal playing field type thing as well?
yeah, it's sort of like it's always. I don't think there's a perfect system.
Right.
I think that's
For sure.
ultimately the reality is like I think their color comes with its own set of issues. But I would say that like one of the things that I really like about color divisions is players who play 770 rated disc golf can get onto a lead card,
Yes.
and players who play 810 rated disc golf can get onto a lead card,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and players who play 840 rated disc golf can get onto a lead card. Players who play 865 rated can get onto a lead card, and so sometimes when you have like an MA3 division, and not many tournaments here run MA4, right? So, for example, if you take MA3s and you go, okay, eight, the hot round in MA3 is 905, and
Yeah.
then the
Yeah.
lowest round is 684,
Yeah.
and it's like,
Right.
right, it's like this huge spread. Um, and one of the things you don't see in colors is that sort of spread.
Mhm.
Right.
Um, and so it is like much tighter. It feels like it just feels like you're not, at least like in, and it's probably different for higher divisions, but for sort of like noodle arms and people like myself, you're not like looking and going like, okay, I'm 25 strokes back, and that's a pipe dream. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's like you're actually like, oh, I'm like 4 strokes back or I'm 5 strokes back, and anything can happen. And so it gives that sort of like level of just like I don't know. I think it's like the ability to like almost remain competitive,
Mhm.
especially over multiple rounds.
Yeah.
Um, Whereas like when you've got these big fields with such a spread, it's like you have one bad round and that's you're out, right? It's not,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
drop 15 spaces, and in color it's not like that. The divisions are smaller and it's usually tighter, and so the spread doesn't it's not the same spread, at least from what I've seen running them.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, and the another thing too we want to bring up as well is that if a person hasn't played at a QDG event, there is something else that we've noticed when you put your events together.
Yeah.
And what that is that a lot of times with a smaller event or a C tier event, it is that level because there's not as much put into it. But you put so much into it with the fundraising, with getting donations, with doing that you usually, and I don't want to speak for you for this one, so you can let us know if it's the same, but you usually go pretty over the top when it comes to prizes and raffles and giveaways and stuff. There'll be beer. Like if Polyrhythm, you've probably got, I don't know if we're allowed to say that out loud, but if we aren't, there be beer available to purchase, but maybe there's beer available to give away. Who knows? But is it kind of looking that way for this event too?
Yeah, so like that's something like that's part of fundraising and part of what my idea is like. I've always uh, I've always believed that if something, you can when you have assets and you fundraise assets, you can choose what to do with them,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you can, sure, you can like have a bunch of paid raffle tickets, and I don't have, that's I'm not saying that people shouldn't do that. I'm just saying that in terms of like for our events, I've always found that like for me, the gratification of these events is seeing like people having a good time and seeing people um, just feel like they've left winning and
Yeah.
in some capacity, right? Like there's like a small W or a large W or some sort of W at all. And I love seeing that for people. I mean, the $400 race, I think, was like the
The
creme de la
pinnacle.
creme.
Never to be repeated.
Yeah, yeah. I think I walked away, tears streaming down my eyes, like I can't believe it happened. But but I just like, for me, if those things can offer, like ultimately they're just material goods. But if
Mm-hmm.
they can be a connection or they can offer some sort of like bridge or some sort of like experience for somebody that shapes how they experience the day or how they, just obviously I don't think that people need to receive material things to feel good, but I just mean like that experience on the player that they leave feeling like that was like a great event to me is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Fundraising comes in, like I do a lot of the other fundraising. I just do it myself through the whole sponsors. Um, and that offsets the charity piece. So I don't really look at players as like being dollar signs for
Mm-hmm.
fundraisers, and
Right.
I have all that stuff sort of taken care of, and so that ultimately, like when I'm like someone, I can let someone doesn't have the funds or is waiting on payday, I could let everybody in. It wouldn't really make a difference. I
Yeah.
don't
Yes.
I don't rely on it to cover the fundraise, um, and so it gives me a lot more flexibility. I think that way too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think with all of that, Andy, I think there's a lot of TDs out there who could probably enjoy your advice and help and education on that side, because I know that's always a tough one to do, and you're always really successful with those events. And with that, like, we're so happy with everything that we're seeing that you're doing to grow disc golf. We've been talking lately. We've been talking, like when we talked to Bevy, it was about growing junior disc golf. Talking to Kristen Swirls about growing women's disc golf, because I think across the board there's room and there's space to grow disc golf in many different ways, and you're doing a great job at it. Now, we're kind of to the end of where we had for questions, but we want to make sure that we didn't miss anything. And is there anything that you might want to shout out or anything else to bring up before we get ready to let you go?
Um, so I think that covers a lot of things. I think I will say, folks, we do have sort of like, you asked a question around sort of like around growth or around like milestones. Um, and so there's a couple things. Like one thing is we're really close to raising $100,000. It's like
Wow.
we're knocking
Holy
on the
crow.
door.
Yeah.
So after Winnipeg, we're at 85.
Okay.
So it's creeping, and so we're
Yeah.
not that far. We're not that far. It's like 15,000 out. And with some, with I imagine we're going to hit the 100,000 mark um, by the end of the year. And so, I think that it's like part of it is recognizing that things are not always like the wave is not always here, right? Things sort of
Mm-hmm.
they ebb and flow,
Yeah.
and what feels like one day things are feel like heavy, or they just feel like, oh, what's going on? Things aren't coming together. It really just takes sometimes one thing to pop, right? Pop out
Yeah.
of it.
Hmm.
So tomorrow there'll be a big announcement. It's like our biggest club we've ever done,
Wow.
uh, and so I haven't talked about it. I haven't told anyone about it. It'll be posted to Instagram. I think it's tomorrow, and it's
Okay.
definitely like the biggest thing we've done yet.
It's
Um,
that next level up.
All
yeah,
right. So it's
yeah,
kind of like a mild drop, hey? A mild exclusive.
A mild exclusive.
It's
We're
like,
letting
pay
everybody know.
attention
Be
tomorrow.
ready, because tomorrow you're
yeah,
gonna know, you're gonna find out.
yeah. It was supposed to be on Saturday, and then it got pushed. But yeah, it's our biggest. Like I would say, in terms of like partnerships, it's a really big one for us.
Okay.
So yeah, you'll see it. Uh,
as
I don't want to
as
say anything.
No, no, we don't want you to spoil it, and we can see you're
yeah,
trying very
it,
hard not to.
it's one of
So
the
things
greatest
could
teasers ever.
change, right? I don't want to say something and then it doesn't happen and something changes.
Yeah.
I don't think it will, but I'm certain it won't. It won't. But I just think like I want people to see it, and it's definitely like I think for us it's like a really big milestone, and I think a lot of I think it's like kind of unique what we're doing, and so I'm excited to see reception. I'm excited to see like what audience it gets to,
Hmm.
okay.
because it's definitely a different audience, like a much larger audience than what we're used to.
Right.
And so maybe that's like a bit of a hint.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm super excited, and I wish I could say more, but you have to look. You'll see it, and when you see, I think you'll know.
Yeah.
You'll know
We'll know
what I'm
when we
talking
see
about.
it. Oh, well, we can't wait to check that out tomorrow for sure. Uh,
Sonia's saying heard it here first, but
that's right.
we didn't really
Yeah.
hear anything, but we
We
we kind of heard
No.
it here first.
we heard the hint here first, which is good.
Yeah.
So between that and then as well too, Andy, is that the next time a Scully Boy disc drops, let us know. We'll be watching for that, because I
Mhm.
think I need one
Oh,
of those in
Edmonton.
my collection too. So okay,
There's one, the Daredevil Skelly Boys discs are coming out. I didn't even show that stamp yet, so that's what's coming out for Edmonton.
okay,
So there's a new Skelly Boy for uh, that one as well. So the Skelly Boys
Awesome.
stamp will be on Daredevil, and that one is really cool. They're all
Yeah, they're all
just
good.
cool
Yeah,
stuff.
they've
Yeah.
been
Yeah.
great.
So
Okay.
Yeah.
this one's got
Yeah.
like a flamethrower, and it's a whole thing.
That's awesome.
Okay, so
It's cool.
let's just do a quick recap. You could do an event in Edmonton on one
Mhm.
of the longest days of the year. You can play in colored divisions, which are way more competitive.
Yeah.
So you got a better chance to get on a league card. You're going to support a great cause. You're going to have a
Mhm.
special beer. You're
Yeah.
going to get a special disc
Yeah.
that you can have an option to get part of.
Yeah.
Where's the downside on this, Daryl?
Yeah. I don't see any
No,
downside.
it's going to be
And lunch
amazing.
is included.
And lunch.
So,
Yeah, yeah. And Briggsy's dogs. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I was just out at the gentleman who just had put a comment in there, Kevin, just had a wedding on the weekend. And Briggsy's dogs are so famous, Andy, that for the midnight lunch at this wedding, Briggsy was doing dogs there.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
I've heard so much. Like I feel like it's like when Mike first told me, and then I just kept hearing Brixie's dogs, and I was like, well, are they just hot dogs? Like, are they just like ketchup and mustard? He's like, no. He's like, it's
No.
not just ketchup and mustard. There's like and I mean, he's trying to explain to me, and I was like, I think I need to see it. Like, it was
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
there's like
Well, it'll,
sort of like the mad scientist vibe, right? Like, I'm gonna
yeah.
do this like concoction of this like really interesting thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, we got a chance at the wedding. There was ramen dogs, so those were
Okay, yeah.
good. And the way that the dogs are cut and cooked, they just, I don't know, it makes them taste better. And then there was also like a Mexi dog where it was salsa and broken taco chips on top. I don't know what Briggsy's got up his sleeve for this one, but
Yeah.
it was great. It was a great midnight lunch. I was so full from supper, but I still had a hot dog as well.
We'll have to. Yeah. Yeah, I think the name of the game is like when you cut it, if you can expose more surface area, right? Because then you
Right.
can get like more charred bits, and
Right.
then you get like the Maillard reaction with all the different flavor and stuff. Versus like I think of hot dogs when I was a kid, it was just boiled hot dogs,
Yeah.
Yeah.
kind of uniform, almost like spam like, right? But when you get like the texture and the crunch and all the different flavors,
Yeah.
it can really like change the vibe completely.
There's
Yeah.
the science to it.
So add that there's all the reasons to join. So
Yeah.
as Kevin's saying there, Kevin's going to be joining up and it'll be awesome. So
Awesome, thank you.
have a safe trip up here. It'll be great to catch up with you, Daryl. You're going to be
I'll
there.
be there. Yeah. I'll be volunteering. I'll be doing my my bit for the board. I'll be taking photographs and doing all the social media stuff for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Had it been the
Awesome.
2-day event where it was Calgary and Edmonton, I would have been able to catch you in Calgary because that's
Uh,
unfortunately where I'll be that weekend. But you and I could catch up again when we get out to nationals.
Yeah.
So that'll be good.
Yeah, and before I go, I just want to also give a shout out to Cole Garden. Even though we didn't come back to Calgary this year, this event this year as well.
Okay. That's
Perfect.
awesome that
Yeah.
they're still support. Well, we know Blake is
Yeah.
just amazing and
Uh,
always supporting disc golf in the community for sure.
yeah. Dan and Blake, they're just like they're such good folks. So they were like, oh, we're so bummed you're not coming to Calgary, but like we'd love to help out. But like, let us know when you're coming back because we'd love to do something.
Yeah.
And they're just such lovely folks. So
For sure.
yeah, I'm excited to come back. It's going to be a good year.
And that's just another feather in your cap for that you run such a good event and you're so easy to speak to and the events that you organize that people actually want to work with you again and they just want to keep supporting. It's not like some
Yeah.
people that would maybe just do an event and you're so demanding or whatever it might be, right? The
Mhm.
fact that all these sponsors that people that you work with, they just want to keep working with you and keep supporting you year after year, so that's always good to see.
Definitely. Well,
Yeah,
awesome,
yeah,
Andy.
that's an important thing.
Yeah. Thank you
Awesome.
so much. We appreciate it. And we can't wait to have you back out here in Edmonton. So all the best and have a great
Awesome.
event in Guelph and say hi to Bevy for us as well.
Oh, I will. I will. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks,
Awesome.
guys.
Thanks.
Bye.
See ya.
Okay, I need to try and get this to work because
We got
I'm
our
hoping that it doesn't. There we go.
oh, there we are. Back to it. You got the tech wizard is on it again.
Well, I'm limping by at the moment, Jeremy. But that's behind the scenes. You don't need to see all of that.
No. But Daryl, you know what? That was one of the first times we've had a guest on for the second time.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, the second guest was, or the second time they were on there, they were the main guest, not just like a quick little catch up.
Right.
How did you feel about that? Catching up with Andy again?
Oh, it's always great to speak to Andy. Yeah. just so much for disc golf, like you said, so much for inclusivity, bringing everybody out, giving everybody a chance to play disc golf, and feeling like they're heard. So yeah, awesome.
And I truly mean it when we say that Andy's got it figured out on how to run an event. And when we spoke, if you go back to episode 40 and listen to the conversation we had there, Andy's ability to fundraise and to really get out there, and this is for the queer disc golf cause, but every type of cause was where Andy's roots were from. And having that as a solid base is something that really helps a tournament and helps an event be successful. And connecting with people who share that same vision, like Polyrhythm, like Cold Garden as well, Daredevil Discs in this instance as well. So Discape, you name it, Judge Havoc. So fantastic what they're doing there. Now, hopefully you enjoyed this episode, and if you have, please do us a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We did it, Daryl. We hit one of the numbers again on the way up. This would be like probably my circle 2, or would it be a circle 1 goal for this year? We hit 400 subscribers on YouTube, so thank you for that. And we have a number of prizes that we're putting together. Yeah, it does look good, doesn't it, Dylan? It looks so nice with 400 there. And we are pushing for 500. And Daryl, do you want to reach back into the tickle trunk if it's here? I thought we could maybe show one of the discs. I thought maybe a sneak preview.
I will, just as I'm turning around.
Yes.
Because I'm getting caught up on everything. I'll just quickly post a comment here from last week's guest.
Oh, and then we got Jerry Ann Brownbridge saying, I like Radiant Divisions because it's super inclusive, as it grows us as a community and playing with new people. Yeah, I would agree with you, Jerry Ann. So here is our tickle trunk. This is part of what's going to be going with our 500 disc or 500 subscriber giveaway when we get there.
Yeah, and part of it. We've got so much stuff in there.
And I thought maybe what we could do is just grab a disc off the top.
Don't forget, we've still got
the A4, was it? We still have a fractal disc to give away after we give away the DF open disc. So watch.
Was it the Oilers one?
I believe no, it was a different one.
Sorry.
So that next one there. All right. Well, we'll get to that. But what I wanted to show you, maybe. So what we're going to show you is we have one of our discs that we're going to give away at the 500 giveaway is a Wasp that we picked up, a brand new Wasp.
ESP Wasp, I believe.
And it is
Z plastic.
What do we got? Looks like a 5302. So
bit of a stable mid-range.
So that was just a sneak preview. That's one disc.
Okay.
So maybe as the weeks go by and as we encourage you to subscribe, we'll show you more and more of what we're planning to give away. Are you with me?
I now know where you are at.
All right. Yeah, so that's the Wasp. Don't get stung by that one. But that'll be one of the discs that we're giving away as well.
Don't get stung by that one. I like it.
So that's the tickle trunk. We'll be giving away more discs from there. Also, too, do us a favor and check out our Patreon as well, where you can join at any level, including free.
Yeah.
And if you join on there, if you join at a paid level, you get free entry into all of our contests.
Correct.
If you join at any level, you get a chance to get the link to join us live and watch our Around the Basket episodes. So that's something you can do there. You can also
comment on all the goodies that are in there, all the different communities that we have, the quiz community, the feature, the list of guests that you want to put someone's name down. If you want to to interview certain people, we'll put their names down, and we'll do our best to try and interview them for you.
Yeah, we really want to get the input of our Patreon members. It's great that you can support us there and get your comments and everything else as well.
It's, believe it or not, Jerry, it's non-alcoholic.
Yes,
there you go.
This one has a little bit of alcohol in it. It's a Wolf, but yeah, there you go. And then also, too, of course, we've got the discounts for you. You guys support us. We try to support you back, and we mentioned them earlier, but we'll go through them really quick.
None of that's going to work.
We have BR Disc Golf, where you can use the code CHAINOUT at checkout, get 10% off. You can also use CHAINOUT at checkout to get 10% off at Cardinal Disc Golf and get some of those new jerseys we were talking about earlier. You can use CHAINOUT at Chains, the disc golf board game, and get 25% off. And I got one more discount, and then Daryl's got something for us.
Yeah.
Is you can use the code COP15, standing for Chainout Podcast 15, to get 15% off your purchase at Goat Towel.
The chat, we're so happy that all our listeners and viewers get involved in the chat. We kind of teased it a little bit with with Andy earlier on, saying that we were going to be out at nationals. Ryan, Bevy's in the chat,
Mm-hmm.
and he says that he talked about us and what we hinted at our CDGA meeting earlier tonight.
Oh,
So if you know, you know. If people are in the know, but yeah,
That-
that's all we'll say is that we're getting talked about.
oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're excited, Bevy, for that. And we're excited to be able to work with you again on it too. So thank you, everyone. And we appreciate that you enjoyed the episode tonight. We're going to have another great guest for you next week. But stick around,
Mm-hmm.
check out our Patreon, get over there and get that link. Daryl will have our pre-show that we've got recorded there with some funny bits and things that we've done in the past. And then we'll jump on. We're going to talk about match play that's happening up tomorrow before the Preserve tournament.
Got the Preserve. We got all the Canadians involved in the Preserve.
Yeah.
And then also, I'm excited.
Yeah,
We got a little quiz happening as well.
Yeah, and what happens with Daryl and I is I think we both love being the guesser and we both love being the quiz master. And you want to join us for this one because it's a speed quiz. There's a timer. Daryl's got to do it as fast as he can, and then he's going to create a quiz for me next time. You'll be able to play along as well. So check that out. Join us in a bit. But Daryl, that wasp.
Yeah, that wasp is a little bit overstable.
Right.
Do you want to take this one?
Do I want to take this one? I think you got it.
Yeah, you take.
Yeah.
Okay. So the career disc golf event, the Chains for Change, is going to be happening at Hermitage Park.
Yes.
I'm thinking, let's pick a nice little short hole that you throw a mid range on. I'm thinking hole 2.
Hole 2. Yeah, that's a
Maybe even if it's in the long position,
because that's kind of tucked toward
it's
the left.
It's a big kind of dog leg left almost.
Yeah.
You're going to throw that out there. You're going to throw it, give it some height.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a little bit of hyzer, help it around this dog leg left.
Right.
So it's going to always be turning left.
Yeah, it's going to be buzzing pretty much.
It's going to be buzzing. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's going to go all the way around the corner. It's not going to go OB.
No, it can't go OB.
No, it would never go OB. But you know what? It's going to hit. It's going to hit those chains.
Is it going to hit them?
Yeah, it's going to be an ace run.
Yeah.
Andy, because Andy has been on this episode. We've mentioned the disc, all the ace run, everything is kismet. It's all coming together.
Mm-hmm.
This disc is going to crash into those chains. But you know what? It's not going to do.
It could never do.
No, not this one.
It would never
Chain
chain
out.
out. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you soon.
Buttons are not working. Keep talking.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap this one up the best way we know how. And we're just going to keep saying chain out until Daryl can
Thanks,
get the
everybody.
button.